Big day tomorrow. I want to remind everyone tomorrow, a news conference. John Davidson returns home. You can watch it live, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning, right here on MSG. We bring in our pal, Rangers radio analyst Dave Maloney, via the video call center. Dave, great to see you. Played with JD. What does it mean to you to have him coming back as the Rangers president?
Well, you know what, Bill? He was a wonderful teammate. He absolutely, for me, particularly at the point of my career, I was young. I was a captain at the time and wound a little bit tight. And John was always there. He'd take me aside, or we'd go to lunch and things like that, and kind of get back on the rails again. And what was really impressive about him as a player, I think we see now as an executive and as broadcaster. I mean, he had the ability then to kind of connect with the training staff, the players, the coaches, media, all the different components of the game as a player. Very well respected in the room. And, you know, I always kid him. My one kick at the can to win the cup was in 79, and John wasn't 100% healthy. And I think if he had been 100% healthy, perhaps we wouldn't have gone out in 5 to Montreal. But I just can't speak highly enough about him. Not so much as a hockey guy, but just as a human being. He's a wonderful human being.
Dave, you got to have some good stories, though, about him. If it's from the run in 79 or anything else with a teammate. I mean, this is a show about telling stories. What have you got?
Oh, boy. You know what? We lived out in Long Beach. We trained out in Long Beach when I first turned pro, and the Rangers had been out there for a couple of summers. But I remember there was one establishment that had a bar in the middle of the facility. And late one night, JD and his cohort in crime, Dunk Wilson, decided they were going to bring their motorcycles into the bar. And they did a lap around the bar. It was Diggs 2 was the name of the place in Long Beach. And that affectionately became known as the Diggs 500, was the lap that he and Dunk Wilson did around the bar with their motorcycles. And it's all part and parcel to the great character he was and still is.
Good thing there was no Instagram or Twitter back then for that. Right?
Oh, yeah. No, that's yeah, there's a lot of stories that there's a good thing there was no Twitter or Instagram around.
And Dave, we also have this gem. Take a look.
Oh my God.
What do you have here, Dave? Break it down.
Oh, this is the Hockey Sock Rock. We did a video for Alan Thicke, God rest his soul, whose son had juvenile diabetes, and this was side A, and we filmed this actually at Sky Rink. And as it turned out, oh my God, look at that. You know what I always thought? I actually thought it was cool too, right? Look at JD. Oh my God.
That's a ketchup bottle.
There we go.
Wow.
There we go. He had all kinds of moves. That was, of course, that's Duke and Phil and John and I. So that was an accompanying video too. And the story with that record and video, we got an acknowledgement for selling 100,000 copies. Of course, the benefit went to the Juvenile Diabetes Foundation. And the rumor has it that Gordon Lightfoot, who was a good friend of Alan Thicke's, bought 90,000 copies. So that was, and you know what? All that stuff came out of when we went to the finals in '79, and there were a number of things. My brother Don got a nationwide 7-Up campaign, ad campaign, and we were able to do the Sassoon thing. And so it's telling what winning can do when you're in the greatest city in the world, for sure.
That's a great example, right, of what winning can do and the fun you can have with it, and obviously the legacies that are left behind, including a video like that no matter how hard you try, Dave, it's never going away. It's never going away.
That's the thing. No, it's better too when my kids, my kids are older now, and when they were of the age, they kind of look at it and go, really?
Well,
and I'm not sure they still don't do that, but no, it's really, you know what, I knock on wood that I was able to start my career here, and I've ended up, and there are days, guys, that I still have wondered, how in the world did I end up here, and how in the world am I still here?
Yeah.
And it's all fun, that's for sure.
Well, you now have a new generation of Rangers trying to do some of the things that you were able to do as well, and that is, of course, have success here in New York. The Rangers move up, get that number 2 pick. I'm sure you watched some of the highlights from the World Championships, whether it's Jack Hughes or Capo Caco. How excited are you just about the possibility of adding one of the top 2 players in this year's draft class?
You know what, Alan and Bill, I'm quite excited for Jeff Gorton and Chris Drury and Glenn Sather. It was a pretty bold statement and a bold move a year and a half ago the franchise attempted to do. And you know what, going down the stretch, and you have to acknowledge what David Quinn and what he expected from his roster. And there's all kinds of franchises that had the lose for Hughes thing, and now Capel has kind of come out of not so much out of nowhere. This kid's been on the radar screen for about 6 to 8 months now, and I think the things are with a franchise. Sometimes when you go about it the right way, you get a little bit of luck. And as we take a look at Capel was a big body off the wing. There's all kinds of reports about him out there. He's probably a little more NHL ready than Jack Hughes. The issue with Capel, he's been on the big ice surface. Now he's going to come back on the smaller ice surface, and that may take some adjustment. But he certainly is not hesitant to get into the areas of the game and the ice surface where you've got to make things happen by being physical. And been able to watch him a little bit on the World Championships over in Slovakia, and you know what, he's been good. And of course, Jack Hughes at 5'9", 165 pounds. Although he has played on the smaller North American ice surface, he hasn't played amongst men, and there's a big, big difference Capel has. So I think the Devils and the Rangers, regardless who goes one, who goes two, I think both franchises are getting a wonderful, wonderful player, and one may be a little more ready than the other. So all in all, it'll be exciting on June 21st to see how that thing all plays out. And to me, I'm just very, very happy for the guys that made the decision they made. David Quinn forced his team to compete to Game 82. And lo and behold, perhaps, again, it's a good sign that when you do things right, sometimes you get a break.
David Quinn has referenced the hockey gods because of the way the Rangers finished the season. Hey, Dave, great to see you as always. Thanks so much for stopping by. For more great videos from the MSG 150, check out right there. And remember, our show is on Monday through Thursday, 8 to 10:30 p.m. on MSG Network and MSG Go.